أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ربي اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي واجعل لي وزيرا من أهلي هارون أخي أشدد به أزري واشركه في أمري كي نسبحك كثيرا ونذكرك كثيرا إنك كنت بنا بصيرا اللهم افتح علينا حكمتك وانشر علينا رحمتك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. O Lord, shows us the door of wisdom and mercy and shower your blessings upon us. Amen. وصلى اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Amen. Assalamu alaikum everyone. Sorry for the delay. Inshallah, everyone is enjoying the snow, at least from their windows. So with this, let's continue on our journey with our friend Nursi, who's taking us on to exploring the world of the human being and how can we utilize our existence to communicate up close and personal with the source of our existence. Last week's session was exciting and it left all of us really psyched about really trying to decipher further about all these inspirations that we get on a moment-to-moment basis, daily, even now, just looking at snowflakes coming in different shapes, size, forms. The whole sky scenery is like all white, but who is setting the stage? If I just talk about what I see, then I become like an artist. But if I just talk about the snow, loving it, how it's reminding me of childhood memories, sipping on hot chocolate and just hanging out with some friends or siblings, shopping by Fifth Avenue in New York City, then that's just like acting like a poet. Rather, we need to follow the prophetic practice, which is really to question, well, who is setting up the stage for us? What's up? What's up with all these snowflakes? It's all white. And what is this feeling that I'm experiencing within myself? What is the cause of existence of this joy that I cannot explain? It's definitely not coming from my bro, or it's not coming from the apple I ate. And yet here I am being inspired just by communicating with white stuff, which we refer to as snow. All right, let's dive into the rays. We're reading the 7th ray, page 148, the supreme sign. And so, so last week we covered some good points, a lot of topics. Our area of interest was really revelation and inspiration. So mainly inspiration. The differences, you got it, between revelation and inspiration. So we said that revelation comes to us through a medium, and inspiration is coming directly to us from the source of our existence. And we use the analogy of maybe a president of a country addressing to the people of the country through his cabinet members. So that's how revelation is descended to us as well, through employees of the creator of the universe, And inspiration is like, hey, the president knocking at your door, coming to you personally. However, there's a little caveat to this inspiration, I think, which we need to cover today in terms of how the inspiration, because it comes to me directly and I have my free will in the way I interpret it and get meaning from it. So yeah, so I think let's inshallah explore that today. And just before we move on, anyone here would want to share out anything from last time that they want to share and bring into the table? Feel free to do that. Okay, at any time, make sure you guys raise your hands. So let's move on. Let's start from here. So our traveler understood this, then looked in the direction of inspiration and saw that veracious inspiration indeed resembles revelation in some respects and is a mode of dominical speech. There are, however, two differences. So in both cases, revelation or inspiration, the creator of the universe is addressing to me, the human being, my human side. The first, revelation, which is much higher than inspiration, generally comes by the medium of the angels, whereas inspiration generally comes directly. So, to a king who has two modes of speech and command, the first consists of his sending to a governor a lieutenant equipped with all the pomp of monarchy and the splendor of sovereignty. Sometimes, in order to demonstrate the splendor of his sovereignty and the importance of his command, he may meet with the intermediary and then the decree will be issued. So I think we went over this part in terms of how revelation is descending to the level of the human being. So now let's go into the second. The second consists of his speaking privately in his own person, not with the title of monarch or in the name of kingship, concerning some private matter, some petty affair, using for this purpose a trusted servant, some ordinary subject, or his private telephone. In the same way, the pre-eternal monarch may either, in the name of the sustainer of all the worlds, and with the title of creator of the universe, speak with revelation or the comprehensive inspiration that performs the function of revelation. So in the same way, the pre-eternal monarch may either, in the name of the sustainer of all the worlds and with the title of creator of the universe, speak with revelation or the comprehensive inspiration that performs the function of revelation, or he may speak in a different and private fashion as the sustainer and creator of all animate beings from behind the veil in a way suited to the recipient. Okay, so let's
I think we discussed this, right?
This part.
Yeah.
Okay.
The example you were talking about, the president. So unless there's any other comment or question. Then.
Sure. Yeah. Let's check in.
Sure. Yeah.
Does anybody have any comments or question thus far? I think the intro, this recap sort of covered it, but hey, you never know what gets imparted to anybody. Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
Before going into the second difference, I would like to share what attracted my attention as a result of the comments and explanations we shared last week. Now, the revelation we know that the revelation should take place through a medium. What does it mean? Through angel and then the human being. And the human being should present the content and whatever the content, everything of revelation to human beings. So revelation is received through verbal explanation. So verbal explanation is transformed into human voice through a man's speech. This is the prophet's speech, the employed person's speech. So it is understandable because revelation, which is in the form of speech, is addressing to human hearing and not seeing. No, we don't see, but we hear, and human mind that interprets it, receives it in the form of speech, and understands it again in the form of speech to the human beings. As it is, why we say that, why human beings? I mean, historically, the Quran narrates that all the people throughout human history rejected the prophet's claim that he has received the revelation from the Creator and transformed it to human beings. A human being. If God wants to speak, they say, and the Quran also puts this argument clearly. If God wants to speak, He speaks through the angels. Or why does God need you as a medium to transfer it to me? Cannot God speak to him, speak himself? I think this argument is clearly put in the Quran with explicit language. I wonder, why the Quran speaks in this way, as if giving an idea to human beings that, look, you can argue against me by using this argument, and as if asking the people to challenge God with it. No, it would be a contradiction. I understand that Quran is very clear and obvious and doesn't really restrain himself, try to avoid this reality. No, it just clearly it tells me clearly that, but people claim this. It is nonsense. It says, but I am expected to understand why is it nonsense? Because the creation, the universe out there is taking in the same way. Because this is not verbal speech, the universe is not a verbal speech, it is an action-wise speech. So how is the action-wise speech is taking in the universe? Through angels bringing the will of God, the commanding order of God, and turning into a form through the medium of matter. Through the medium of matter, atoms, etc. Like the artist, how does he present his art or her art? It's very simple. He uses the paint, different colors of paint, and presents his artistry, his quality of art, through arranging these paint, molecules of atoms of paint, into a certain way so that I can see it, because action-wise creation needs to be seen physically. So voice-wise, vocal revelation, verbal revelation needs to be heard. So we understand that because the evidence is obviously clear out there. The revelation in the form of act is taking place medium because it is necessary for me to communicate with the mind of the artist, with the quality of the art of the artist, only after he's a man like me still. I don't know his quality of art, his power in artistry, his talent in artistry, unless he uses a medium of his hand, his and the paint and the canvas, and manifested there, I can see even a man's quality in the form of medium of matter. So the verbal speech of the creator also has to take in the through the medium of something matter. It means a human being here in this case speaking to me and I can hear it. Because unless I don't hear it, I don't see it, I don't know what the quality of the creator is, what the quality of the art is, because art cannot be observable unless it is physically manifested. So very interesting in the Quran that the verse says, إِنَّا خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ مِنْ نُطْفَةٍ أَمْشَاجٍ نَبْتَلِيهِ فَجَعَلَهُ سَمِيعًا بَصِيرًا. Look, two main quality of human being, or two main characteristics of human being, is being able to hear and being able to see. The very explicit physical practice of it, although we don't know the nature of seeing, we don't know the which verse? 76 verse 2. Chapter 76 verse 2, as far as I remember. Yeah, so you can share it. Yeah, also yeah, some you share the two of them, or something else. But the verse 2. So, and also the previous verse was interesting. No, yeah, that's correct. But previous verse you posted, I think Suhail gave the link. Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, this one. You know, what is this messenger that eats food and walks in the market? Why was there not sent to him an angel? He would be with him a warner. It means he must come through angel only. No, through angel is not observable for me, because the nature of angel is in the form of a command, and meaning, the meaning must be either verbalized or written. Again, it is another kind of verbalized. So nothing I can communicate with without using my eyes, my ears. That is why we have created the other verse. We have created human beings from a from a cell, let's say, the mixture of cell, drop of mixture of cell, and we are going to try him, and it means really provide him with the means of hearing and seeing, because through these seeing and hearing, we, the human beings, will be able to make progress, understand the reality in the existence, etc. It is a beautiful way of presenting. I love this simple language of the Quran in order to teach me how to make sense of my existence. It is amazing. Very simple, but we have to try to read between lines when the Quran says, not literally. Why does God say that we created you from a germ cell or whatever they say, sperm or whatever, a cell? So it is just a nutfah, I mean, literally means a drop. So any kind of drop, small, big, not necessarily water drop, it is too big. No, it's just a drop in creation. So from out of this drop we created, but he says, where the Quran continues, but we made him or enabled him through hearing and seeing so that they will make, they will use or not use it depending on their choices. So they can use it and make progress in their realization of the meaning of existence. So that is very interesting. The Quran speaks in this way. We say, okay, God really gave me hearing and seeing. These are our human potentialities. Yeah, it is God who created me with this. Why? We have to ask the question. We have to really analyze the verses. Although verses are so straightforward and very easy to understand what literally what they mean, but we have to question: how am I going to make progress through hearing and seeing? Through action-wise revelation and through speech-wise revelation, verbal. So action-wise revelation will be experienced through eyes, practically speaking. At first glance, it functions in this way. And also through revelation, speech. The revelation in the form of speech is also experienced through hearing. I see that both, everything is taking place in this verse, in this word, through medium. Through medium. Now, why? We know we discussed this a lot, and we are. I am sure, and you are all sure as well. The one who is revealing himself in both ways is absolute one. I cannot really behold, I cannot really comprehend the absolute and in its essence, but I can comprehend the necessary existence of the absolute. This is my human reason concludes this after using my hearing and seeing abilities. It means the universe and the revelation, verbal revelation. Universe is a revelation as well. Both of them really take me to acknowledge the Creator. It is beautiful. We have to pay attention to these conclusions. Yeah. For example, I would draw your attention to the following verse. Can you go towards the very end of this chapter? Go. Go. Okay. This verse, for example, verse 30. Look at the beauty of it. Yeah. Verse 30. Yeah. And you don't will except that God wills. All right? Look at this. وَمَا تَشَاءُونَ إِلَّا يَشَاءَ اللَّهُ. You see, you cannot will anything except God wills. My will is totally dependent on God's will then. I don't have my freedom, although I have free will, seems to be, but I don't will, he wills. And then whatever he wills, I will feel. I will. Whatever he wills, I will. Following his will. It seems to be my will has no function and no freedom. But continue. Inna Allah kana aliman hakima. Hey, don't forget, he has definitely prepared for. No. He, and indeed, Allah is ever knowing and wise. Why? Don't say, oh, Allah is wise, isn't he? Allah knows everything, doesn't he? No. Look at, he wills with knowledge, with wisdom. So his will is absolute, but his absolute will uh, understands through his knowledge, through his wisdom, how I am going to practice my free will, and he creates it, whatever I will, but he knows beforehand. Accordingly, he arranges the order of the universe accordingly. This, for example, let me put it in a very plain language. God says, I set the order of the universe, continuously arranging it according to my absolute knowledge. According to my absolute knowledge, human beings are going to choose this way or another way. I know it. So I arrange the universe accordingly so that the human beings will, and I have already willed to create the universe according to my eternal absolute knowledge and wisdom. I don't really will. God says, God doesn't really will without wisdom. What is the wisdom? Knowledge. What is the knowledge? He knows what I am going to choose. So God doesn't restrict my will, but he knows it beforehand, and the result of my will is arranged by God, and he creates it, he realizes it, I don't realize it. Ultimately, everything is under the control and in the hands of God, but my free will is not restricted, but I must know that God knows what am I going to choose, and accordingly, he will arrange the order. For example, while somebody is drunk and driving, so he wouldn't, God knows that this man is not going to be careful in the crossroad like this, or the cars parking on the side. He wouldn't notice that, and he will just turn the wheel this way, and God says, okay, I know this, and accordingly I will arrange the order of the universe, and the result will be created according to the choice of the man. Whether it is drunk or not, this is not necessarily the example, but a man. So, not that I didn't really will. For example, if I am careless in driving, always like this, and one day a person gets involved in an accident. So in the accident, this happens according to what? The way I am used to, and the way it happens. So this, the way that as a result of my choices, it happens, but the result is arranged within the order of the universe according to God's will. So the ultimate decision is in the hands of God, but according to his wisdom and knowledge, he arranges the order. So to arrange the order accordingly, his will. We have to understand this kind of conclusions. You know, aliman hakima, inna Allah sami'un basir, inna Allah halimun, aliman halimun, what sabur or something like that. All these words needs to be taken into consideration in order to understand the previous message, previous to it, and preceding these names of God or qualities of God. So we have to go back. What is it to do with knowledge and wisdom in the context of this verse? These are excellent examples of the Quran. Sorry, just I wasted your time maybe. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, Brother Ali. Please don't be sorry. This is actually amazing. Definitely very thought-provoking in terms of, I think we need to digest more of the wisdoms that are hidden behind these verses. You wanted to check second verse?
No, so I wanted to clarify something. So brotherly, you presented that there is verbal speech and then there's the act-wise speech. And in the act-wise speech, it says, according to the guidance of the Quran, that it happens through a medium in the act-wise speech. So is that based on the verse that we studied, that man is made with the verbal and speech to understand, with his eyes, and he can see things and then make sense of it, and through the hearing also he can make sense of it. So that also must happen via the medium.
Is it I think I took it as a question, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, people don't oppose why the universe is taken in oppose the fact that the universe is presented to us in the form of physical existence. It means through or medium of atoms or particles are used. They don't question it. They say, here it is, it needs to be created. It cannot exist by itself. But when it comes to verbal speech, they cannot make sense of it, usually. Not only the contemporaries of the Prophet, and it is also narrated in the Quran that many other peoples in the history of mankind, humankind, many other peoples rejected the prophets for this reason. Because human beings, there are two main reasons, but existential reason is they don't think about the existence of the universe as taking place through a medium of the physical substance. They don't pay attention to it, so they will say, yeah, of course, Absolute One is manifesting himself, introducing himself through the medium of particles. That is why this ignorance of the reality of existence of the universe, they go and oppose the prophets claiming that I have received the word of God, speech of God. They say, as the verse Suhail posted, demonstrated, why not? There is no angel really receiving and conveying it to us. What did they say? So it is like a man, like me. Of course, it is like you. The atoms are also like you. You are made up of atoms. What is strange in it? That's why Quran uses this challenge with no hesitance, as if teaching the reader, look, you can claim the same thing. It looks really Reasonable, isn't it? As if. No, it says no. It is a challenging. They say this, but they don't pay. They don't pay attention to the reality of how the universe is taking place as well. As well, also in existence. How? How does it take place like this? So it is the lack of really concentration on their existential side. So if someone doesn't really reflect on the way that the universe, how the universe is taking place, what is the function of the existence of the universe, then this person has to mess up with everything. So first thing we are introduced here is the universe. So the second thing, after we reach the age of majority, become an adult, then the second source is introduced to us, speaking to our intelligence through a verbal form. They have to unite it. If someone has not gave a thought to the existence of the universe, he cannot understand the revelation at all. And the second reason jumps in here, because we cannot challenge the universe, saying that, look, he has done this universe, whoever he is, I will do this universe as a competitor. We cannot do that. No one can dare to do that. Even one atom we cannot create. So we submit there. We say, okay, I cannot do that, and somebody must have done it. I understand. I believe in God. Yeah. But when it comes to to a human being claiming that he has received the message from somebody, the senses, egoistic defense policy, defense attitude awakens. So that, why not me? Since he's a man like me, excuse me. He walks in the street, eats the food, and makes shopping. Like me, he's needy as me. Why not me than he? Then the sense of competition, jealousy, like Adam and Iblis, jealousy, comparing himself, the Iblis, with the body of Adam, and saying that he's made up of dirt, what I'm made up of, and much honorable, high quality creation, which is fire. So I am above him. Look, the comparison is very egoistically centered on the comparison between the material side of it. The material side, eating and walking in the market, swak, markets. Now, comparison is where? In the material side. But angels, on the contrary, this is an example for me. So I have to have the angelic approach. That I should not compare me and another person in terms of bodily existence. I should compare me and the other person in terms of human values. Now, this person must be deserving more than I do to carry the message to the human beings. That's why he has chosen it. I don't know whether I am in this position. I don't know. My creator knows better than myself. So he must have seen some values in this way, in this man. That is why he has chosen it. The materialistic view makes these egoistic contradictions as Iblis, as presented to us in the scenario of Iblis and angel, Iblis and Adam, sorry, and angel as well. So angelic, or how do you say it, Iblisic, satanic approach is based or are based on this fundamental difference. Some people say universe consists of matter. Angels say universe consists of angelic approach. Universe consists of meaning, which addresses to my human qualities. But those people who see themselves consisting of body, they see the universe consisting of matter. This is nothing to do with really how we see the universe. This is everything to do with how we see ourselves, our own existence. Then go to the universe, then make the judgment according to my approach. The competition is possible in terms of bodily structure. For example, somebody may be more handsome than, let's say, Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him. More handsome, richer, more knowledgeable. You receive more education than the Prophet Muhammad. Yes, it is not possible only, it is the reality. All the enemies of Walid bin Mughira was really expert on Arabic poem, language, defense speech, much better than the Prophet. The Prophet couldn't defend himself in practical terms against the accusations of this man. What did he do? He asked a poet, a famous poet, Hassan bin Sabit, whatever, doesn't matter the name, a poet with an eloquence, asked him to challenge him. He couldn't himself. So you see, if we value the people according to their physical, educational background, body structure, economical status, social, political status, then this is, it is interesting and satanic approach. So if we want to make, if we want to be successful, the first aim of success, the area of success will be what? My human virtue, not my human physical structure, bodybuilding, etc. But you can do that, but you know that it doesn't really make any addition to your human value. So you can be rich, you can be knowledgeable, doesn't matter. Learn a lot of things, accumulate lots of information through your own actions. Okay, doesn't matter. How much have you utilized them in order to fulfill the purpose of your existence? That must be the aim of my existence in this world. So there are many aspects of it, but we have to really have an approach towards the reality and try to orient our life around the conclusions that we understand from what we gathered. We understand what we are going to do according to what we gathered from our own reality. Inshallah, it may a little bit help. Assalamu alaikum.
Alhamdulillah, thank you, Brother Ali.
Thank you. Yeah, that was helpful. Alhamdulillah. Okay. Anyone wants to make any comment? Yeah, these are interesting also. Verses, yes. So thank you all for sharing all the verses posted here. And this last one was what? They would possibly leave out some of what is revealed to you. Or is your breast constrained by it? Because they say, why has there not been sent down to him a treasure? So these two are on the same line. To him a treasure, come with him an angel. As in like something in material form.
They're expecting. It's a challenge presented as
it's interesting. Never
physically seeing an angel.
Okay. All right. Interesting. So thank you. At any point, if anyone wants to say anything, raise your hand. I'm going to go back to the screen. All right. So this was a great expounding on the text that we are reading. in terms of really revelation coming through a medium. That's the only way for me to receive the message of my creator. Otherwise, even the action-wise speech is happening through medium. But if I just look at the universe as a material and some kind of order happening, and that's about it, and without really further questioning the cause of existence of the effect that I see, because everything is an effect. But my logic, human logic, questions the cause of existence or the source of existence of what I observe, then I'm bound to dissipate my thoughts into just, getting lost into how is revelation being revealed through to a human being, or why isn't it happening like this to an angel, like that we should be able to see in a physical form, although maybe there may be some appearances, but I think let's just leave the topic to here for now. But it's thank you. It's interesting also to recognize how the sustainer and the creator of the universe is speaking behind the veil in terms of the qualities that are manifested, and that's how we communicate with the source of our existence. Okay. Any
So this journey is interesting, how the journey started with going through the universe, looking at the act-wise speech through our eyes initially, and then making sense of it, and now going into the realm of the world of the unseen, and necessitating that whoever is presenting to me this speech in this action-wise form must speak to me also in verbal form. And that's how this concepts of revelation and inspiration is coming in. And again, the way the journey of the universe, is understood that, hey, how come these things that don't seem conscious and are communicating? So there must be some medium, some way that, there's an understanding of the creation that has been developed. And now the speech of the creator, which, from using my ears first and then going again to my understanding of how the universe is, so I can make sense that, that is also, revelation must also come through a medium. It's, through an angel, and then inspiration is a whole different thing, which we kind of touched upon last time also. There's these wrongful ideas that could be, we have to evaluate as a human being and make sure they're not whisperings, or are these genuine inspirations that are being communicated to me to let me know who my source is, like, so I can make sense that this communication is actually my Lord communicating with me. Like my feelings can attach myself to that, my senses can attach to that.
Interesting. Yeah.
So just going along with the journey of how the human being is so far till here, in terms of now the differences between revelation and inspiration.
Jazakallah khair. Yeah, very valuable comments. Interesting also to think about the inspiration side of the human being, because every moment we receive inspiration, but how am I interpreting it? Like you said, am I truthfully interpreting it as coming in from the source of my existence, or I'm just squandering it around without any connection, or just heedlessly connecting it to what is it that I'm interacting with? So yeah, that's an interesting point. And right, I think if all is clear for everybody, inshallah, then we can look into the second difference presented by the author here. All right, so let's move on. The second difference. Revelation is without shadow, pure, and reserved for the elect. Revelation is without shadow, pure, and reserved for the elect, excuse me. Inspiration, by contrast, has shadow, colors intermingle with it, and it is general. There are numerous different kinds of inspiration, such as the inspiration of angels, the inspiration of man, and the inspiration of animals. Inspiration thus forms a field for the multiplication of God's words. Inspiration thus forms a field for the multiplication of God's words. You think it could be multiplicity? Maybe, I don't know.
That's right.
Okay.
Multiplication of God. Basically, there are many forms of inspirations. You can see the inspiration of the birds, the skies.
Oh, okay, different
many
types.
Animals.
So like in a plain field, you
humans,
see different...
diverse things are
Okay.
having inspiration. Insects, bees.
Gotcha, thank you.
So multiplicity and multiplication of God. So all those are speeches coming to each individual. So these are multiple words of speech of God that are being inspired. So now to each and everything.
Thank you. That makes sense. So that's why, like you were saying, the author walked us through the different world realms, sea world, animal world, mountains, and all that. Okay. So inspiration thus forms a field for the multiplication of God's words that are as numerous as the drops in the ocean. Wow.
It's continuous speech that is happening.
Oh.
Act-wise, and also verbal-wise via inspirations.
I'm also thinking of in terms of the different kinds of inspiration, because what my naked eye just sees like galaxies and maybe underground thing, but there's more,
that's
right?
The act, yeah.
There's more.
That's act-wise speech, because those are meaningful things, events that are happening.
Okay, so the inspirations are as numerous as the drops in the ocean. Wow, that's amazing. Ocean is endless. So this is, so I think this really connects to our reality in terms of how we live with all the thoughts that are imparted onto us. And our traveler understood that this matter is...
There is a verse I posted. You can just share it just right time now.
Okay, perfect. Inshallah. Thank you. Let's do that. The chat right here. Right. There we go. So the verse says, oh, I like this verse. I've heard of it. Say, if all the sea were ink for my sustainer's words, the sea would indeed be exhausted, where my sustainer's words are exhausted. And thus it would be if we were to add to it sea upon sea. All right. Thank you, Brother Ali.
Ear means before. It's an old English.
Okay, thank you.
Maybe you know it, but I'm sorry, because it's a very typical language used.
The translation is in the book. But
okay, thank you.
Arabic.
No, I didn't know that, but thank you for letting me know. Okay, yeah, this is interesting verse. Oh, is it also coming up in the text you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
but the Arabic is here.
Oh, the Arabic?
The English translation is in the text.
Gotcha.
If there's anything we need to focus on.
Sure. Oh, this is from chapter The Cave. Yeah, okay, interesting. All right. If anyone wants to make any comment on this. Okay, we can otherwise proceed. Let's just see any kind of wordings here. كل كان البحر مدادا لكلمات ربي لنفد البحر قبل أن تنفد كلمات ربي ولا جنا بمثله مدادا. Okay, so I remember last time we studied about Rabbi, right? So it's interesting how we can make the connection of the quality of Rob to the educator, the all-wise one, the knowledgeable one. And yeah, I mean, if we were to list out all the qualities that we experience in creation, even when we recognize or realize the source of our existence, the universe itself would not be enough. Nothing here would suffice to list out all the qualities that we experience.
Yeah, there are countless words. It says, the English translation says words. What is that? Yeah. Inspiration does forms a field for the multiplication of God's words. It means, for example, cat speaks, God speaks through creating cat. God speaks through creating God's hair, cat's hair, cat's noise, cat's feelings, cat's blood system, endless. That's why multiplication of the God's words in the creation, we can see it. So how many vehicles, how many medium God employs in order to convey his message to me? Oh, as many as the pieces of the universes. Everything is nothing but conveying the word of God to me. It is very interesting. Sorry, thank you.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, this is very interesting. All the mediums and the vehicles that are employed, they're endless, really. I was just looking outside the window, the snowflakes. It's endless. Like if you were to count, no, you can't even fill a bucket. You won't be even able to fill out any kind of notebook, not even with 100-page. Sorry, like this is, yeah, amazing. Creation is constantly happening, speaking to us, but I'm always on the receiver end, and I just need to make sure that I am vigilant of my responsibility as the receiver. And thank you. So let's see what we have coming up. And let me see if anybody has anything here added on. Okay, that was it. So our traveler understood that this matter is indeed a kind of commentary on the verse. Oh, there we go. Were the sea to become ink for the words of my sustainer, verily the sea would be exhausted before the words of my sustainer. Were the sea to become ink for the words of my sustainer, verily
I am sorry, just I thought this verse must be brought to the attention, but it was already there. I'm ignorant. I'm sorry.
Alhamdulillah, that's awesome. Hey, the more we look into it, it's very poetic. It's bringing lots and endless meanings. Alhamdulillah. So let's read it one more time. I'm sorry, this is awesome. Were the sea to become ink for the words of my sustainer, verily the sea would be exhausted before the words of my sustainer. This is from Quran chapter 18, verse 109, which we just saw earlier from chapter The Cave or Al-Kahf. So, wow, yeah, I think this is something we can do as homework today, just stay with this verse. So now, does anybody have anything to say, any comment, or wants to express themselves out, anything? If feel free to raise your hand. Otherwise, let's move on. I see Sarah, LLM. Go ahead, please.
It just, this verse with the snow falling, and there's, well, instead of saying snow falling, with the multiplicity of flakes falling all at the same time, and me listening to this word verse passage or sign be recited 3 times, and looking out the window and seeing abundance of flakes falling out of the sky. I just felt like an abundant, like sort of realization, like on my chest, that felt so overwhelming, because if each snowflake comes with a word and these words are endlessly falling down at the same time, and that's just if I only look at the fall of the snowflake, let alone the millions of other things happening all around me, and to think that each one is a word. At first I just felt so overwhelmed, like it was heavy, like, oh no, like I'm missing everything. But then I felt with the second repetition and the third repetition of the word, like, okay, like relax. This never ending falling of, or not even falling, but like display or presentation of words from this Rab is pointing you in one direction, that that this Rab is infinite. And I felt so calm after that, like, okay, that they are all pointing in a sense to the same message, but with different colors and different names and different, displays and different hues and different colors. So then I feel like it's the dynamic that it's abundant and infinite, but it's one at the same time. And it just felt almost like overwhelming at first, but then there was a oneness in that message, like a solidarity that was calming at the same time.
Alhamdulillah, Sarah, thank you for sharing this beautiful comment. Yeah, not to sound cheesy, but like, look at all the love letters that are being sent by the creator of the universe. It is indeed overwhelming. What do I do with it? It's like swimming in an ocean of love, and it is comforting. And so we definitely need to acknowledge and recognize the sender. And Alia, I also like your comment. If you want to express out, feel free to go ahead, please. Thank you. If not, then I can read. I mean, if you're available. Okay. So I'll take it as so. Yeah, Alia is also sharing, echoing what Sarah shared. Yeah, thanks. In terms of, first it may seem overwhelming, but then recognizing the reality that this source must be infinite points to the infinite Rab, sending in this personalized message. Another speech coming. That's right, New York City background. Sorry about the noise. I'll have to mute myself.
I'll just share really quickly.
Yeah, go ahead, Sarah.
Is that the love and the mercy and the way that this multiplication of words is endless in the creation. It's like a constant repetition that repeats the same message, but in different colors and different shapes and sizes and flavors. So I just felt like, wow, it's so merciful. Because at first I was like, oh no, this is so overwhelming. Like I'm missing really like 99.9% of everything happening. But then from the angle that it's all expressing the same message on repeat, it's so helpful, because it's like, if I miss it in this, then I'll receive it in another way, in another, like there's endless opportunity to receive the message.
MashaAllah, thank you, Sarah, for sharing this. Indeed, there are endless ways to receiving these messages. All right, I see that there are Ali Murmur. Go ahead, please.
The subject reminded me the hadith narrations from the Prophet that every drop of rain is carried by an angel. The angel brings the news. This is the angel of Gabriel. Gabriel is everywhere. As the prophet explains us that he has raised the angel encompassing all sides of the sky. Of course, the whole sky is nothing but the demonstration of the angels. Gabriel brings the revelation from God, news from God, and every drop of course, the prophet was speaking to the Bedouin Arabs, what we can say every particle now, every particle is brought down from the heaven. It means from the absolute one by and representing angel. So means or medium are always the angels bringing it and present them to us in a form that I can see and experience it. That is also when we say Gabriel brings revelation to the prophets, that is correct. But everything that you see has a meaning, which there is nothing in the world which doesn't carry the meaning. The message from the Creator is the message carried by Gabriel. That's why we should not really make it into a mystery that the prophet saw when he is on the journey of ascension. It means really becoming aware of the reality of his creator. So on his journey, he see that every particle of the universe is carrying the message. And this medium of carrying the message from the creator is the Gabriel. So we shouldn't really think of Gabriel angel in a physical form like an eagle, but a huge wings. That is very materialistic understanding of angels. That's why these people, I don't know, I wouldn't blame anyone, any religious tradition, but certain religious traditions represent angel as a innocent child with wings. How primitive. I think they are really primitive thinkers. So we shouldn't be in the same position as well, saying that the Gabriel. I made a joke once in one of our discussions in Turkish. Somebody really appreciated it and said, do we think that the Gabriel has brought the last message to the Prophet Muhammad and he is now retired because there is no, as he brought the message says there is no more message anymore. I am retiring and living on my social security by God. So it is a ridiculous way of understanding, of course, the angel. Really, I believe that if someone wants to is certain, makes sure his belief, he must start from understanding of angel. That's why in the Quran says, "Kullun amene billahi ve melaiketihi ve kutubihi." Afterwards, because if you don't understand, if someone doesn't understand angel, he cannot understand God's speech, which is presented to us in the form of a book. So without understanding what angel is, we cannot really confirm, be certain about the existence of God, and we cannot go to the third stage, which is the fact that God speaks through the universe, but at the same time through verbal speech and the books sent by God. So we have to understand this is the, if you like, how do you say, central point. It is the key point in developing one's belief system. Belief in angels. Unfortunately, it is a very, very saddening reality that Islamic literature has not gave almost any emphasis on belief in angels. No explanation apart from just God says so, it must be so. We don't know the nature of it. That's it. You are not expected. You are not expected to know the essence and nature of anything anyways. You cannot understand the essence of atom, do you? Can you? Go and ask the physicists. Don't be ridiculous. We cannot understand the essence of anything. Thus, we see them how they are. So we have to understand, physically, of course, we have to understand the matter of angel in terms of existential base. Existential base means what is the base for my understanding of angels? How can I come to this conclusion that there are angels existing in the world? If you don't understand it, if you say Gabriel's job is only to bring the message to the prophets, and that's it. It means we don't see the meaning, the revelation behind the physical of this world. It means the physical form of this world is just trash. God has just made something nonsense out there with no function and making sense to me, and I can utilize from it. Of course, this understanding must be refreshed. This is one of the main reasons for me to appreciate this author has written a specific point, specific section, and in various ways he has given strong references, very brave references to the necessary existence of angels. We have to really pay attention to it and appreciate it. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm just interrupting always. I don't know what's happening to me now today.
Alhamdulillah, that's part of the discussion. Thank you. We, Alhamdulillah, appreciate everyone's company here. And thank you all for expressing yourselves out, contributing. And yeah, this good points were brought up about how the creator of the universe speak to us and how we should be really shifting our understanding by incorporating everything else in existence to really make the case more meaningful for us. It should make sense to the human being. Otherwise, everything becomes a joke, I would say. So with this, I see that Farah, you have a comment. If you want to state out your comment, please go ahead, and then we can have Hatice Beza share her thoughts as well. So go ahead, Farah.
I think I hope the question is just a clarification question. I might have missed something. I hope it is very clear, but I see that the author makes certain more subtler points around revelation and inspiration, and particularly revelation is without shadow, pure and reserved for the elect. So there is some sort of specificity with who is let's say capable of distinguishing between revelation and inspiration. But I gathered that there are certain differences that the authors mentioned, but in particular, the difference that I want more clarification on is like, as I said in the question, if all meaning is represented by angels, then it seems to me that inspiration is also mediated or conveyed or sort of imparted through the angelic side of our experience.
I'm sorry, Farah. Can you please reiterate your question again?
It's okay. What I'll do is, Dr. Ali has shared the second paragraph in this section, the first. I'll read that. And then maybe if you have time this class or next class, I'll come up with more thoughts.
Okay, inshallah. If anyone else wants to share.
Excuse me, can you go up to the first and come to the second paragraph under yes, so to a king. You go to the first paragraph, Revelation, which is much higher than yeah. In this form, there is a difference, but both of them are at the same time the revelation from God, but one of them is just explicit speech, the other, and to everyone, the other one is to the heart of an individual. The inspiration is speaking to the capacity of the individual. For example, the Constitution is for everyone and all the time, but the laws and maybe other, how do you say, legal means of explaining what the specific cases related to the specific person. For example, when I park my car in an illegal way, I get the ticket. Ticket doesn't say, according to the Constitution, we are punishing you with $40, $50. No, this is the fine. No. They say, according to the law, something, section, subsection. This part is related to you. That is my inspiration I am receiving from the authority of the state. But how about the Constitution? How about the General Declaration of the President concerning everyone? That is the difference between verbal speech, which is revelation, and also specific speech, which is inspiration. That's what I understood the difference from there. In the example, it is clear. But this is clear to me. I'm not accusing anybody that, oh, it is so clear. Why do you ask this question? Of course, everybody will ask anything concerns him. Of course. Yeah.
Thank you, Brother Ali. So that was very helpful, at least for me, pertaining to what I understood from Farah's question is that there's an explicit speech which is for everyone, directed to everyone, and that's what we refer to as revelation. And then there is this speech that speaks to each individual human side or each individual human heart or the capacity of the human being. So that's inspiration.
First was revelation.
Right.
To the selected few.
Interesting. Go ahead, Ali Murmur.
No, I remember.
Oh, you muted yourself in excitement, perhaps. Brother Ali.
When I was, I'm sorry. When I was young, very young, maybe younger than all of you now. So, I mean, it was 16, 17 years old, maybe somewhere there. So I was reading Risale and gets excited and trying to understand the difference between revelation and because this one, the supreme sign, was one of the favorite piece of the Risale, practical for me. So stage by stage, it was excellent. So I was amazed with the methodology employed by the author of the book there. In everywhere, but this one specifically, how he takes us a journey and makes every aspect of belief system based on reality that I can experience. So I went to a man who is iron merger, who is a smith, iron smith, whatever you call it. Um, just to his shop because I came to know him through somebody anyways. So he was a nice man, and as I was a young guy, so he wants to always make me feel happy. So for example, when it is time for lunch, and that he ordered the lunch for me free, so I really like that. But it is a bit selfish like, but that time is okay, just a 16 17 years old boy. So he said, he gave an example, but specific example, but I can transfer it to you like this. The president uh, called me and asked me to come over to his place, and I went there. He said, I want a fence here, but the decoration must be like this. Oh, I said, did you really speak to the president? He said, yeah. Yes. He said, yes, I did. Oh, president spoke to you? And then I remembered the inspiration. He was speaking to the need for the fence in his garden. But it was just an appropriate speech to the capacity of an smith. Do you see what I mean? And he understood what the president said, although this same man may not be able to understand his speech, a deliverance of his speech to the nation in general, and reminding a certain principle to the general public. Uh, that is really different. I said, I got it. I got it. The difference between revelation and inspiration is a perfect practice. It was a perfect practice of understanding this difference. Thank you very much. I wanted to just share it with you. It's funny.
Thank you so much, for sharing this event with us. Yeah, it makes us realize and understand better what this direct
Inspiration.
speech, which we refer to as inspiration, refers to. Jazakallah khair. I know we are at time, but Hatice Beza, we don't want to miss out your comment. If you want to go ahead, please. Now's the time.
Assalamu alaikum. Yeah, actually I had a very similar, if not the same question as Farah before when we were talking, or when in terms of the different aspects of revelation and how am I to understand the difference between these two, if even verbal speech is still carried to me through a means as is inspiration, even if the means are my feelings, for example. But I guess what I can say in a nutshell is what I understand the answer to the question to be, which is it's not so much so the means, but rather what the main idea that I get is the directness, or quote unquote, via means, that it's just to make a point, because everything is coming through a means. So as Brother Ali was saying earlier, when I have to first, in using this methodology, I have to first establish a sound foundation of my understanding of myself and the universe, so that I can, in a way, be open to seeing the angel or the meaning in the speech as well. Otherwise, if I'm missing out that the fundamental foundational understanding there, then the speech does not necessarily speak to me, or rather I block myself from being able to understand a speech. So in a way, I guess I can say that they're built, or revelation is built on inspiration. And the reason that inspiration is more, as the text said, inspiration by contrast has shadow, colors intermingled with it, and it is general. And there are many different types of inspiration and multiplication of God's words, etc. So that kind of is the starting point, or what is immediately accessible to me in my existential journey and reflection, but using those, then I can also, the aim would be to open up the door for revelation while still being open to inspiration as well. And I think the key point is the methodology in which I make sense of both the inspiration and the speech of my creator. Thank you.
Jazakallah khair, Hatice, for actually summarizing the discussion from today. I like the part that you mentioned about how revelation is built upon inspiration. So definitely there is an aspect to
What does that mean? Revelation is built upon inspiration.
as in to me trying to extract meaning from what is being conveyed to me, so then it becomes
So there is speech.
yeah.
The one whose source of existence speaks.
Mm-hmm.
There's act-wise speech, and then there is verbal speech.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in verbal speech, that's where the difference is being made of between revelation and inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
And from what I understand, revelation is coming through a medium of angels, and it is basically only for selected few.
Mm-hmm.
It's reserved. It's a form of speech, as for example, where the monarch or the king or the president talks privately to someone,
Mm-hmm.
via medium, and conveys the message, and the other is more general.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one of that aspect, but this is inspiration is for everyone. The multiplicity is everything in creation.
That's a good point.
Gets inspiration.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more general in that sense. Versus revelation is only for the reserved.
I see.
For the chosen, like the one who are chosen to be given the speech. Via the medium.
Thank you for clarifying that as well. And Ali Murmur, go ahead, please.
I know the time is, we are out of time, not out of time, but I have to share this understanding of mine with you so that you will maybe tell me whether it's right or wrong. Now, let's concentrate on this. The verbal speech for the general information for everyone and universally valid. But this is revelation, whereas inspiration is not universally valid, depending on the addressee's capacity. For example, let's make it this analysis. Reading the Quran, now, the speech of God is revelation, but after I read the Quran, the verse or anything from the Quran, the speech of God, my understanding of the speech, let's make it clear. My understanding of the Quranic verses is my inspirations. That is the difference. Inspirations are unique to me according to my capacity, but the Quran is a universal message. It goes the same in this way as far as the understanding of the universe is concerned. The universe is a universal declaration of God to everyone, but every person understands something from a part of the universe is his inspiration, personal to him. So, for example, the revelation is sent through the elite, means really this not the elite in social status, but chosen, which Asim said chosen. It means employed by a person who can carry it. That depends on the employer. He says, okay, you can do it, go ahead. That is his capacity. That's not my capacity. But I don't care whether the capacity of the employee, it means the chosen person. What I care, what he receives, conveys to me, and this is from God. But the prophetic status is different. Whatever we understand, every individual understands from this revelation is his inspiration. That was the conclusion I came up. Example, of course. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, crystal clear, at least on our end here. So verbal speech is universal. It's for everyone. It's universally valid. Inspiration is not universally valid in the sense that it is based on my capacity. And so after reading the speech of God, my understanding of it becomes my inspiration, which is unique to me according to my capacity.
So you meant revelation is universal speech.
Correct.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And then whatever I understand is inspiration to me.
Yes. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, thank you all for bearing with us here and being patient. Was very fruitful discussion. Alhamdulillah. Thank you all again for coming in and participating. And inshallah, we will pick up next week from
The first.
yeah
Then
this
looked at the nature.
this sentence. Then he looked at the nature, the wisdom, and the testimony of inspiration, and saw that its nature, wisdom, and the results were composed of 4 lights. Inshallah. So that's for next Sunday, inshallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alimul hakim. Glory be unto you. We have no knowledge save except that which you've taught us. Indeed, you are all knowledgeable, all wise. وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.